Have you been building your product and consistently working on it, but you're starting to think, what if nobody buys my product? And this is a very valid question because you're not just saying this because you're fearful or because, you don't want to put in the work. You're actually putting in the work, but you're saying this because, you see the signs. And that's because, hey, you're consistently posting. And even though maybe the views and the engagement have increased, they haven't increased significantly where you are certain that when you launch, the people are going to buy. And so this is very valid. And I want you to know that you're not alone, that even myself, I'm in the same boat with you. I'm in this space right now where I am working on this product, but I'm starting to get a bit detached. And honestly, I feel like every time I think through this and have this kind of thoughts, I just always want to share it because this is not something that many people share. Many times we share when things are working out, we share when we're making progress and all of that. And I think it's important that I share, the entirety of this journey with you because I've done it before, and regardless of the fact that I've done it before, I'm still in the same boat that because I'm doing something new, it feels like I've never done it before. And so this feelings are so raw and so real for me. And they probably might be for you too. And I want you to know that you're not alone. So I'm going to be sharing with you what I intend to do. And even though we feel stuck, life goes on. So we are going to make it work. So if you feel stuck, if you're building your product, but you feel like you're not quite there yet and you're worried whether people may or may not buy from you, then this video is for us. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Adeyinka and I help working professionals monetize their skill set so that they're able to build a six-figure business without having to quit their jobs. Now, in today's video, I want to focus on the mindset that we're dealing with right now. And I call that mindset the deep. This is the phase where we're in between clarity and implementation. We've made so much progress, but along the line, we feel like the goal is getting closer, but we're not sure if we're going to get the result at the end of the goal, right? So if you're like me and you've been on this 8-week roadmap with me, you know that we're in week 5 and we're getting closer. It's 3 weeks down to our deadline. And it still seems like, even though we're consistently throwing out content out there, we've increased here and there in terms of engagement and comment and likes and whatnot. We don't know, right? Because we are using the signs and the engagements and the likes and all of this metrics to gauge whether people are going to buy from us. And while this is natural for us to do, I think it's not entirely correct for us to do so. And I say this because I have other businesses that run every day, right? And I see how things work in those businesses, right? I see how sometimes people are not even interacting with our posts, but that doesn't stop them from coming into the DM to request for our product or our service. So having that knowledge makes me know that those likes, those engagements, those saves, those comments is not really a true indication or a true indicator that we're not going to sell. At the end of the day, we are going to have to launch in order for us to know whether we're going to sell or not. So even if we legit feel worried and a bit scared, and that is kind of making us to draw back and not really anticipate as much, we still have to get the job done, okay? We still have to push forward. We still have to keep going. And these are some of the things that I am using to keep myself moving and keep myself pushing. For example, last week, even though I wasn't feeling well and I was under the weather, I was excited to be under the weather because I wasn't even in the mood to make any video or create any kind of content. Because in my head, I was like, you know what? What's the point at the end of the day? Like, how many people are even going to watch this video? How many people are going to, interact with all of this? And you can imagine me being excited that I'm not feeling well enough to be able to record. And in that minute, I realized that, Ginka, you're a bit worried. You're a bit anxious, all right? You're worried. You're like, hey, it's week 5. I have 3 more weeks to go. What if nobody buys that product? But then, what if somebody buys the product? Something else that I realized is that even though I have this 8-week plan that says, you know what, at the end of this 8 week, I want to be able to, have my first paying client. There is that possibility that I could launch and it could take another week or two before I find a paying client. And I think it's okay for me to be okay with it, right? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, right? The fact that we have a roadmap is meant to be a guide. It doesn't mean that if at the end of that 8 week we don't have one client, it doesn't mean that we failed. Because at the end of the day, we've come such a long way. We've learned so much. We've done so many things that we probably would not have done on a good day. But this 8 week roadmap kind of kept us in check, gave us a sense of direction, gave us a sense of meaning, gave us something to look forward to and something to do on a day-to-day basis. And even though those feelings are coming here or there, and those thoughts are coming in and reminding us of what possibility could be there at the end of the road, I think it's very important that we know that there's always two possibilities. So the same way we're like, you know what if nobody buys? It's the same way I should be thinking, but what if people buy? And even if people don't buy at the end of the 8 weeks, what if people buy in the 9th week, in the 10th week? This is not a sprint. This is not something that we're trying to just, find our first client and we're done. We're trying to build a 6-figure business. There is work that needs to be done every day. This is a new life that we're trying to build for ourselves. And I think it's important that, we are aware of what we're getting ourselves into. I think it's very important that we address these feelings, we address these thoughts that come to us, because they will continuously come from time to time. And the better we get at handling these thoughts and handling these emotions, the quicker we're able to get over it and kind of keep moving, right? And that's why I wanted to make this video, to encourage you that, one, you're not the only one thinking about this. You're not the only one with this worry. All of us are in the same phase with you. All of us think about these thoughts. And sometimes we feel like, taking a chill pill. We feel like procrastinating. We feel like old enough. But the best thing to do is to keep going. The best thing to do is to keep pushing. The best thing to do is to keep moving, because we're definitely better right now than where we were when we started this journey. So one of the things that I am doing differently this week is I really want to just kind of like give up on looking at those external metrics and external validation. While those comments, those likes and all of those things are great, right? They kind of guide you. I don't want to rely on those things, because I have evidence of other businesses that people don't even leave comments, right? People go straight to the DM to request. And people don't even know that I'm the brand or I'm the face behind those brands, because those brands have their own identity. Those brands have built themselves, over the years, delivering quality product and services. And people just go in and check. And we don't even, create any kind of content on any of our social media pages, right? We kind of like spend time, displaying our product and our services. We probably could do better creating content, but even the fact that we do the barest minimum on, social media, we still make sales on a day-to-day basis. And so having that knowledge makes me know that it's not all about, interactions with your posts. It's not all about interactions and engagement with your posts. When you have something to sell, how do you intend to sell it? How are you going to be showing up to let the world know that you have something to sell? And that's what I need to focus on. And that's what you also need to focus on, because that's when the real game starts, right? It's all good for us to create content. We're able to, relate with our audience. We're able to build trust, build rapport, and all of those things. But even for my business, when I look at it, I didn't build rapport, although I built trust, but people are still buying. And so that helps me to understand that those metrics that I'm looking at are not the true measure of success. They're not the true measure that would determine whether I'll get to make a sale or not. So if you're also the kind of individual where you're looking at your content and the engagement to determine, whether you're going to sell, I don't want you to think too much about it, right? It's okay for us to think about it and see how we could improve the way we deliver our content and the way we relate and communicate with our audience. But don't let that be a determining factor, because when you think about it too much, guess what? You start detaching from what you're trying to build. All of that excitement starts, drowning. And before you know it, you don't even want to show up. You don't want to wake up. You don't even want to think about the business. And before you know it, you're just going to stay stuck in your 9 to 5, just focused on doing what you've always been doing without getting what you actually want. So let's get over that feeling. Let's shake it off. Let's shake it off and let's move forward, because that's what we have to do. We just have to move forward and keep pushing. So for me, I don't want to think about the fact that I am trying to sell to 5,000 people. I want to focus on selling to the next person, selling to the next 5 people, right? I'm going to stick to my deadline. 8 weeks is the roadmap that I have. I'm going to stick to it. I'm an agile coach. I'm a project manager. I know the importance of scope. I understand the importance of timing, and I'm going to stick to it, right? Because that's going to help me determine whether my project was a success, right? All of this is a project. And so I'm sticking to that deadline. And come 8 weeks, I am going to launch my product. And I'm going to start pushing that product heavily so that my audience can find me and they can buy so that their lives could be transformed. Okay. So this is some of the things that I'm doing. I'm not focusing on, big numbers. I'm focusing on the next one person, the next 5 people that are able to buy. And I'm sticking to my deadline. Also, I am going to be showing up regardless, whether it's quiet, whether nobody engages, whether people engage. I'm going to keep showing up, because in my businesses where I make money, I show up every day. My staff show up every day, regardless. And we show up in anticipation of making a sale. We prepare our house to ensure that we're ready for that sale. All the customer service team are ready to get inquiries, serve the clients. And so I'm going to also show up daily. I'm going to be ready, anticipating for my clients to actually find me. And I think that this is a mindset shift that even as I'm recording this video, I feel so different. And I'm also getting my excitement back, because before this video, I was not in the mood. I was not in the mood. I'm like, oh God, this is week 5. We have 3 more weeks. Like, seriously, don't want to do this. But hey, I'm going to do this. And while recording, or rather while writing the script for this video, I was like, you know what? We just have to keep pushing. We have to keep going, because we would never know what will await us, what would await us at the end of the journey. And, looking back and looking at the things I've accomplished, I'm reminded that, yay, look at how far we've come. But imagine if we never started. How would we know what we're made of? How would we know what we could accomplish? How would we know, the greatness that is before us? So we just have to keep going, regardless of how we think, regardless of how we feel, regardless of what the metrics say. We're going to have to keep moving. We're going to stick to our deadline. We're going to focus on what matters, and we're going to launch that product. Are you with me? I hope you are. Okay. So now that you know that you're not alone, now that you know that this is a common phase that many people go through, what are you going to do about it? Is this video going to motivate you to keep going? Is this video going to motivate you to keep pushing and keep working on that product, get your pricing right, get your transformation right, finalize your audience and what you want to serve and how you want to serve them? I hope it does. Otherwise, you would have wasted my time. But I know that you want great things for yourself. So I know that this video is going to do exactly what it did for me, because after I wrote my script, I felt so much better. So I'm hoping that this video also helps you feel better, to know that you're not alone. And more importantly, you just have to keep going so that you're able to realize your goals at the end of the day. So I'm wishing you the best, as I wish myself the best. We're in this together. We are going to win. And I want you to drop it in the comments. Let me know that you watch till this very minute and you are going to win. And if you're willing to share the product that you're working on, I'll be more than excited to respond to you and share my 2 cents about it. Thank you very much for spending another time with me in today's video. I love you as usual, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye, guys.